Hi, good night, everyone. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I am live to take your immigration questions. So if you have a question that you would like to ask, go ahead and put it in the comments right now so that I can answer your immigration questions. So I am here every night with very few exceptions. And so if you have a question or you want to learn about immigrating to the United States, what you can do is follow me, and as soon as you see me go live, you can put your questions in the comments. Now, I want to formally introduce myself. I'm U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I help clients to get their green cards and status in the United States. So if you're going through the process, if you're thinking about going through the process, or if you have even been through the process, then I know you definitely have a nagging immigration question that you would like to ask. And what you can do is, while I am on here live, you can go ahead and put your questions in the comments while I'm talking. Now, you are my priority. Your questions are my priority. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments, and I will prioritize answering your questions tonight. I usually come with a topic to talk about, and so today I'm going to be talking about ways to apply for the green card while you are in the United States without leaving. I want to really touch on this topic because I get so many questions about how to do this, and because my videos are only a few, I am only allowed to have a few seconds to make my videos. I basically touch on who qualifies, but I don't really elaborate on the how. So while your questions are coming in, I'm going to introduce this topic to you, and it's how to stay in the United States and apply for your green card. Hi, Vocal 2. Thanks for saying hi. It's nice to see you. Thanks for joining in. If you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments now. One thing I want you to know is that you don't have to have a question that's related to the topic I'm talking about. It can be anything that's immigration related. So go ahead and start putting your questions in the comments or in the Q&A feature that's on your screen, and I will go ahead and answer. Hi there, user 754. It's nice to see you. And I'm seeing that this is from Detroit. So I see that as well. How do you apply for the DREAM Act? So Tiana, it is not the law yet. And so there is no way to apply for it yet. Hopefully it will become the law in the future. Right now it passed Congress, but Senate still has to consider it. And so at this point it is not law, and there's no way to apply for it. But keep in mind, if you follow me, I will go ahead and update you as soon as something like that does become law. How do I get to the USA with my children? I'm in Jamaica. So Shanna, that is a question that I could go on and on and on for hours. But what the important part here is, how do you qualify? That is at the root. So do you have any family members who are in the United States who are US citizens or legal permanent residents? And when I say family members, I mean, do you have a parent? Do you have a spouse? Do you have a sibling who is a United States citizen? If you have a parent or a spouse who's a green card holder or a citizen, then there may be a way. If you have a US citizen sibling, that may be another way. But I would really have to know, in addition to that, do you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you for the green card, and so forth. If you really would like to, determine your options, what you can do is schedule a consultation, and we can talk more. 242 Duke of Gold, it's nice to see you here again, and I see you're from the Bahamas. I would like to know, what's the easiest way for me as an artist and investor in Trinidad? So while I would have to get more details, Vocal 2, there is a way to come to the United States as an investor. So the E2 Treaty Investor Visa allows you to either establish a business in the United States or expand your business to the United States, as long as you can show that It is necessary for you to be in the United States to run that business, as well as showing that you have or you're currently investing a substantial amount of money in that business. Now, there's no set amount for the investment, but what you do have to show is that for the type of business that you are running or you're establishing, you are investing a substantial amount. And the example I like to use is that, for example, if the business is going to take $100,000 to open up, to run successfully in the United States, you will be expected to have about $100,000 to run that business. Vocal too, it's always best to just schedule a consultation and see how it fits into your personal goals as well as your business goals. You can always schedule a consultation by calling 561-405-4889. You can also go to the link in my bio and it will take you to the website where you can contact the firm. Right now, they're after hours receptionists who are ready to take your calls and take your information, and then a scheduling coordinator will get back to you on the next business day. I'm from Trinidad. How do I start applying for a green card to live in the United States? I have no help. So Chrissy Tal, it is, in this case, if this is something that you seriously want to pursue, you want to determine whether you do have options, it's just best to schedule a consultation, because I can go on and on and on. But I'm going to narrow it down to this. Do you have an employer? Do you have a family member who can sponsor you? In addition to that, the last resort here is to enter what's called the diversity lottery. And that's like the lottery for the green card, where the Department of State opens up their website for registrations around every October. And when you register, you may be selected. If your number is selected, so they'll assign you a number. And if you're selected, you will have to check over the course of the next year whether your number will be selected to be processed for a green card. So that could be one way if you have no help at all. What you can do is go to the Department of State's website and enter diversity lottery, and it will give you that information where you can register. How do I speed up my interview process? So in this case, we call it an expedite request. And in order to expedite, your case has to fit certain criteria or requirements. So usually there has to be an urgent need for it. There has to be some sort of emergency or dire circumstances that would allow you to expedite your case. What's the first step in getting a green card? I'm a legal visa holder, B1, B2. So unfortunately, there's just no way to jump from a visitor's visa to a green card. You do have to qualify through a relative, so a qualifying relative, only certain relatives, through an employer, or for example, through a diversity visa. As well as through humanitarian means, if you are maybe afraid to return to your country because you'll be persecuted based on a particular social group. What is the next step after the fingerprinting appointment? Shanna, banana, it depends on what process you're going through. Shanna, so you said, okay, can a real estate agent apply for me as a sponsor? So it depends. It depends on what type of visa they're applying for. What are the goals here? What are the needs of the real estate agent as your sponsor and so forth. So it really depends on what type of visa they would be sponsoring you for. How does the employment sponsor work? So it depends on the employer, right? And your qualifications. Those are the most important aspects when it comes on to the employment-based visa. So there are different types of employment-based visas and even employment-based green cards. So it is important first to determine what are the goals of the employer, what are your goals, what are your qualifications, and where would you fit to get an employment-based visa or even a green card. If I was selected before but didn't look it up, will it still be valid? So unfortunately, when I think you're talking about the diversity visa, Unfortunately, it only goes until I believe it's September 30th. And if you didn't finish the process by then, you would lose your chance to get the green card through the diversity lottery. Can my brother in the U.S. apply for my green card for me? If your brother is a United States citizen, Shania Sutherland, yes, he can. However, keep in mind that this is not a quick and easy solution, especially if you're already in the United States. This process, whether you're in the United States or outside of the United States, takes a minimum of 14 years. And so you have to be invested. If this is the only way for you to qualify for a green card, you have to be in it for the long run. Now, keep in mind that, you know, the law may change, and the law may change to alleviate these long wait periods. And I really do hope so. But in the meantime, right now, it's a minimum of 14 years. How long do you need to be married in order for your spouse to get their green cards? So as long as your spouse qualifies to apply for your green card, as long as you qualify, there's no real wait period. But what I definitely want to stress here is the evidence that you are it's a real marriage, that this is a bona fide marriage. You have to show, for example, that the times that you've seen each other through pictures of different events with different people and different family members over the years, through joint property or through a joint lease, or through reservations or communications through your phone records. These would be ways to show that your marriage is real. But you can get married today and then file for the papers tomorrow, but you must focus on the evidence to convince the officer that your marriage is real. So IRS sent me a notice letter for my tax that I didn't pay a long time. Does this affect my citizenship? Nasir, absolutely, this can affect your citizenship. You need to make sure that you consult an immigration attorney. I am an immigration attorney as well as a tax attorney. So I can definitely advise you as to how to fix this situation, if it does need fixing, and also how it will affect your immigration. So Nasir, what you can do is give me a call at 561-405-4889 to schedule a consultation. Because absolutely, if they do send you a notice that you owe taxes that you have not paid, then the immigration service is going to definitely put a stop on your citizenship until you prove that you have resolved your tax issues and you're complying with tax laws. What is the issue with adoption immigration in US and Guyana? So it depends on what. So, you know, there are ways to apply for a child through adoption, but it depends on where you are, what country you're in, and so forth. So it's a very complicated issue. If you would like legal advice about this issue, definitely schedule a consultation. Jadine James, you're welcome. Hi, attorney. Is there any possible, let's see. And is there any possible way to get the green card if I came here as a K1 visa and get married and annulled? So if you came as a K1 visa and got married and then it was annulled, the annulment probably invalidated your marriage. So in this case, because I don't know what your circumstances are, I would highly recommend that you schedule a consultation so I can discuss your matter further and your options. However, an annulment, for example, if in the case your spouse mistreated you and then turned around and annulled the marriage, then it would definitely possibly disqualify you from applying for VAWA, unfortunately. But it depends on your particular circumstances, what the facts are. And in this case, if it was annulled, then you also have to look at other cases, like should you consult a family law attorney who can fight that annulment if possible. Can you explain the F1 visa? So the F1 visa is basically a student visa, and it allows you to come to the United States to be able to go to school. So the F1 usually is for a degree program, so a degree program or master's program and so forth. So now with the F1, usually you're not allowed to work in the first academic year. Your ability to work even throughout the years that you're completing your program is very restricted. However, after the F1 visa, you'll have about, and that could be years through your studies, you could have about a 1-year period to work in the United States, and then you'd have to leave unless you qualify in some other way. I am looking forward to our appointment. Then I think this is Shavian. I'm looking forward to our appointment. Just make sure that you follow up with the office to confirm the appointment so I can definitely speak with you. Crystal, my mother's sister is a U.S. citizen. How long is that process? So if your mother's sister applies for your mom, then it is a minimum of 14 years. In the Caribbean, it's about 14 years. In Mexico, for example, it's 22 years. So it depends on where you are in the world, but Caribbean, it's about 14 years. Can my employee be possible to reason to get a green card? So Renlim Casildo, I'm not sure. So if your employer is looking at applying for your green card, that could possibly be a way, but it all depends on how you qualify, what are the employer's goals, and so forth. Ellie Chung, do I have to wait to file for the fiance visa while he waits for his do I have to wait to file for the fiance visa while he waits for his visa interview in Haiti? So Ellie Chung, I believe I've seen this question before, and so I can't advise you directly as to what to do. However, in this case, if you're filing for the fiance visa, there is no restriction that says he can't file for his visitor's visa while he waits for while you file for the fiance visa. But keep in mind that by applying for the fiance visa, your fiance could also be indicating to the officers that he has an immigrant intent to live in the United States, and that could contradict the non-immigrant intent, the temporary intent of the visitor's visa. So at this point, you should really decide, whether you want to take that risk. What is the quickest way to get your green card without marrying? So the quickest way, if you're not getting married, it would be through a U.S. citizen parent or a U.S. citizen son or daughter who is 21 and up. So a U.S. citizen child, 21 and up. Cousin applied for an extension but only get the biometrics appointment today, and it was Thursday. So when you're applying for, I know they're terribly backlogged right now, and so when you're applying for an extension of the visitor's visa, the biometrics appointments are coming far later than it's even permissible for you to stay in the United States. So if that's the case, then you should definitely just cancel the application if you're already outside of the United States. Ren Lim Casildo, you're welcome. My brother got here a couple of days ago with student visa, but he wants to work. Can you help him? So Nasir, it depends on, now the ability to work is very limited. Now in certain extraordinary circumstances where they're facing extraordinary financial hardships, that may be a possibility. The first thing that he should do is schedule a consultation, and we can see if he can qualify. If I got married in Haiti, how would it work for him to come to the United States? So Ellie Chung, what you would do is file for a petition on behalf of your spouse, and then he would go through that process. It would either be approved or denied. If it's approved, then it goes on to the National Visa Center, where they would collect your information, collect additional documents, and then send it to the embassy for an interview. Right now, you're looking at about 18 months to 2 years for that process. So can she get rescheduled without saying she abandoned her application? So when, let me see. I don't remember what your previous question was. So can she get it? So in this case, it sounds like it's more complex than I'm the information I'm giving you. So definitely call, schedule a consultation. You can call any time of the day. Right now, they're after hours receptionists who are here to answer the calls. So you can call, leave your name, your information, and a scheduling coordinator will get back in touch with you. Because in this case, you're asking, I don't know what the facts are. I don't even know what kind of application you're filing for. And so I would need to be able to evaluate your situation to give you legal advice. Thanks for sharing the live. Okay, yes, I did ask a question. Thank you so much. You're welcome. And thank you for sharing the live, Smallin. I will give you a call Monday for my case. Absolutely, Nasir. I am looking forward to hearing from you. I think it's, in this case, it's very important that you follow through and get the help you need, because it could be an issue in your immigration process. Provin, thank you for the follow. So visitors extension. So definitely give me a call, schedule a consultation, because I would need more facts to be able to advise. The information I'm giving is very general information. And so if you want particular guidance or legal advice, you will need to schedule the consultation. Nicola Francis 5, can I travel on my visitor's visa after being filed for by my husband who is a U.S. citizen? So Nicola Francis, no, that is one of my least favorite questions. The reason being, there's no way to predict what will happen at the airport, at the border. Because if you're filed for, what that means is that when you enter the United States and when the immigration officer either asks you if you have a pending green card application, or they see that you have a pending green card application, it indicates that you have the intent now to live in the United States. And what that means is that they could possibly turn you around, which could cause further complications in your case. They could turn you around and say that you cannot, and cancel your visitor's visa because you have immigrant intent. At the same time, I have seen individuals still travel with pending I-130s. That's the pending I-130s, that application based on an immediate relative of a U.S. citizen. And I have still seen individuals travel back and forth while the green card process is pending. The important part here is, no, there is a risk. There is a risk. It could go both ways. But keep in mind that if you do decide to travel, you should definitely be honest with the immigration officer who is asking you questions about your intent and about any pending applications. So, and you're welcome. So keep those questions coming. I know I try to be as detailed as I can be with the general information I'm providing you. So just hang tight. I noticed that some of the questions came off of the screen, and so I don't see them anymore. But keep your questions coming, because I'm here to answer your immigration questions. And so if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments and I will get to yours. Do you have to be working for a certain amount of time to be a financial sponsor? So in some cases, your ability to show your income and that you can now, to be a sponsor, you just have to show that you're currently making that income. There's no specific amount of time that you have to be working. But they do want to see your tax history. They do want to see that you've complied with the tax laws. But the important part is to prove that you're currently making that income. How long after the biometrics do I get my green card for the I-751? It depends. That is varied. It depends on the service center, whether you've been called for an interview. Usually being scheduled for an interview would be the next step. Unless you get a request for evidence, of course, and that's to instrumental. So keep your questions coming. Now keep in mind that if you do come out of the live, your questions disappear along with you. And so I would not be able to get to your question if you come out of the live. So join me, put your questions in the comments and I will answer. How much is the amount you have to be making? It depends on your household size. Go to uscis.gov, uscis.gov. And in the search bar, put I-864P. And what you will find is the form that has a chart on it, and it tells you how much you should be making based on your household size. Amelie, thank you for saying good night. Good night to you as well. And go ahead and put your questions in the comments if you have a question. So I noticed I got a ton of questions. I tried to spend a little time on each question. But if you do leave the live, your question goes with you. So try to stick around so I can answer your question. Can I ask you something? Corona, definitely you can. Go ahead and put your questions in the comments so I can answer your questions now. And if you have a question, there is a slight delay as well as me spending some time on each question. So just hang tight until I get to your question before you leave the live so I can answer your question. Okay, thanks. I had to stop working for a year, but starting new job next month. Can I still be the financial sponsor? Yes. Carrie Lopez, as long as you can show that you're currently making that money by showing your, so if you have a W-2, if you have current pay stubs, you have to usually show the last 3 years of your tax returns. So make sure you have those documents lined up so that you can meet your requirements as a sponsor. If a child was in the biography to go New York with his parents, can he didn't go? It's possible. So I'm not sure. Can you clarify this question? So if the child was in, I think, is this if they're in the application to go to New York with his parents? It depends on the parent situation, what type of visa application are you applying for, and so forth. My mom sponsored me. How long will it take? It depends, Amelie, on your age and your mother's status. Is she a green card holder? Is she a U.S. citizen? Are you over 21? Are you married or unmarried? Follow up and provide that information, and then I can answer your question. Carrie Lopez, 38. You are welcome. His father continued from where was left or needed to sponsor over. So in the case, if you are filing a new application, so Corona, if you are filing for a new application, so the father wants to apply for the child, they will have to file a new application. There's really no way to take it over. Unless, of course, the sponsor passed away. So if the sponsor passed away and they qualify for what's called humanitarian reinstatement, then the father could step in as a sponsor. However, if the father wants to sponsor them as in file a whole new petition, that would be a new process. And Corona, I'm giving general information here. What's important is, and this sounds like a complex issue, so if you really would like to figure out a solution to this issue, definitely schedule a consultation with me. You can call 561-405-4889 to schedule a consultation. You can also go to the link in my bio where it'll take you to the website where you can complete a contact form. You can call the phone number and be able to speak with me regarding your particular issue. So my mom is a green card holder and I'm 32 years old. So if you're unmarried, Amelie, because you must be unmarried for a green card holder to apply for you, it's taking about 5 to 6 years. Right now, keep in mind that could always change. It just depends on the current situation with immigration and how long the wait list is. How long does it take for a child to sponsor a parent? So the child has to be 21 and up to be able to sponsor their parents and a U.S. citizen. And right now you could be looking at about 18 months. Well, filing for an adult and 2 children still take 18 to 2 years. So if it's a U.S. citizen filing for a qualifying immediate relative adult as well as the 2 children, then it could possibly take that long. So keep your questions coming. I am here to answer your immigration questions. So why not take advantage of a U.S. immigration attorney being here to answer your questions? I am here every night with few exceptions to answer your questions. So even if you don't have a question tonight, if you will have a question in the future, or if you just want to learn more about immigration topics, go ahead and follow me. As soon as I go live, you can hop on with me and ask any immigration questions that you want to. If mom is a citizen and the time will be 5 to 6 years still, yes, so it is still going to take maybe even 6 to 7 years with your mom being a U.S. citizen. So unfortunately, it is taking a while. If you are married, it takes even longer. Can brothers file for sisters? Janet Hill, 23. U.S. citizen siblings can file for siblings. So if a U.S. citizen brother, so if your brother is a U.S. citizen, they could file for the sisters, yes. So keep your questions coming while I'm here, because I'm here to answer your U.S. immigration questions. So not immigration related, but a Trinidad can, so that is definitely not immigration related, and I wouldn't be able to advise you of that. Chrissy Tal, it really depends. Maybe you should consult a real estate attorney who can give you that advice. So keep your questions coming while I'm here. Why not take advantage of me being here to answer your questions? What I want you to know is that I'm here every day to answer your questions. Your questions are my priority. I'm U.S. immigration attorney Sharifa Tharpe, and I help clients to get their green cards and status in the United States. As you can see from my videos, I do many videos informing individuals about how to fix their status, how to stay in the United States and apply for the green card, how to invest in the United States to get a visa to live and work in the United States, and so forth. And so if you're in a situation like that, you have relatives, a U.S. citizen or legal permanent resident spouse or parent, or a son or daughter who's 21 and up, then there may be a way for you to fix your immigration status. And I highly recommend that you schedule a consultation. So I'm not married, but I have a daughter. So if your daughter is under 21 and she herself is unmarried, she could go along with you on the application. If your mother is a green card holder, or even if she's a citizen. The only downside of this, of course, is that it takes long. Now, we hope that there is going to be a change in the law in the future that will allow for faster processing times, will allow for families to get together, will allow for shorter processing times. However, as it stands right now, it is a long processing time. So that is it for me tonight. I am going to be back tomorrow as usual to answer your immigration questions. These were all great questions. If you were listening to the live, if you have a question, if I didn't get to your question, what you can do is follow me, and then as soon as I go live again, you can go ahead, hop on with me and ask your questions. So Sherry Berry, I didn't see your question. I am going to be logging out tonight, but please go ahead and follow me, and then as soon as I go live again, you can get the answer to your question. Just go ahead, quickly start to put your questions in the comments so I can see them and answer them. In the meantime, you can go to the link in my bio where you can go to learn about the law firm, ST Law Office. You can go read about me, the attorney, Janet Hill. You're welcome. You can also contact me 24/7. My phone lines are open. Right now, there's an after-hours receptionist who will answer your calls, take your information, and then on a business day, Mondays to Fridays, a scheduling coordinator will call you back to schedule the consultation. You can also fill out a contact form if you want to provide your information, and then we call you back on the next business day, which will be Monday. Thank you all for all your questions. I really enjoyed sitting down and answering them, and I'll be back tomorrow. So follow me if you would like to get answers to your questions. Have a good night, everyone.